You know that feeling?
Yeah.
Where it just seems like the entire tech world is constantly shifting under your feet. New tools, like every day, job roles changing.
Yeah.
It feels a bit like trying to build something on quicksand sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really common experience, and it's actually what Ardashir Shojai gets into in his ebook, Career Progression.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and his background, if you look him up on LinkedIn, it gives you a good sense of the real-world experience that's behind his advice.
Right. So our mission here in this deep dive is basically to pull out the really practical, usable strategies from Ardashir's book. We want to help you get equipped with some clear ways to, well, not just tread water, but actually thrive in this whole changing landscape.
And maybe feel a bit more in control of your time again.
Exactly. Feel like you've got a handle on things.
So yeah, we'll be looking at adapting when technologies shift, navigating that uncertainty that's just inherent in tech these days,
Yeah.
and also how to cultivate a mindset that genuinely boosts your productivity.
And you mentioned something interesting earlier, healthy addictions.
Oh, we'll even get into that, yeah. This idea that certain habits, when managed well, can actually drive success.
Okay, sounds fascinating. Let's jump in. This first big idea, pursuing progress when the industry feels like it's reinventing itself constantly.
Yeah, I mean, look at AI machine learning.
Right.
These aren't just buzzwords anymore. They're actively reshaping jobs, market demands. It's happening fast.
So what's the key takeaway from the ebook on this?
Well, the big thing it emphasizes is understanding that this constant change, it isn't some temporary glitch, it's the norm now.
It's the baseline.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective from seeing change as this, threat to viewing it as the standard operating procedure and figuring out how to work with it.
Okay, so how do you work with it?
Well, a huge piece is lifelong learning, that idea that you can't just learn one skill set and be done.
Right, like web development, it used to be HTML, CSS, maybe some JavaScript, and you were set for a while. But now, you're expected to know frameworks like React or Angular or Vue. It's this continuous evolution.
Precisely. It's a constant learning curve. And the ebook uses that kind of example.
And what about the fear that things like AI or automation tools are going to take over jobs?
Yeah, that's a real concern. But the ebook tries to reframe it. Instead of replacement, think augmentation.
Augmentation. How so?
Well, how can these tools take over the repetitive stuff, the grunt work, freeing you up for more strategic thinking, more creative problem solving? That's the opportunity.
Okay, I see. But dealing with all that uncertainty, it can still feel pretty overwhelming.
Totally. And that's where Ardashir talks about bringing structure into the uncertainty. Time management techniques are key here.
Like the Pomodoro technique, I saw he mentioned his personal experience with that.
Exactly. Those focused work sprints he mentions doing, like 50 minutes of focused work, then a strict 10-minute break. And crucially, during that break, no phone, no casual chatting, just a real mental reset.
That disciplined break sounds important.
It is. The ebook argues that this kind of structured approach gives you a sense of control, even when the bigger picture feels chaotic.
And goal setting.
Yeah.
Smart goals.
Yes, absolutely. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. Break down those big career ambitions into smaller, weekly or even daily tasks. It makes progress feel tangible.
Makes sense. It stops you feeling lost. But there's an emotional toll to all this change, too, isn't there? That little voice saying, are my skills becoming obsolete?
Oh, definitely. That fear is real. And the ebook really highlights the need for emotional resilience.
So what does that look like in practice?
Things like mindfulness, maybe meditation, even just taking a few conscious breaths during the day. Finding healthy ways to manage that underlying stress is critical.
And learning from, well, failures or things that don't pan out.
Yeah, seeing failure as a learning opportunity. The book gives this example. Say you spent ages learning a technology that then kind of fizzled out.
Okay, yeah, that happens.
Instead of thinking, what a waste of time, focus on the transferable skills you gained. Problem solving, design thinking, maybe some solid coding practices. Those are valuable no matter what the specific tech is.
That reframing is powerful.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a failure, it was skill building.
Precisely. And one last thing on navigating change community.
Ah, yes, don't go it alone.
Right. It's easy to feel isolated when you're scrambling to keep up. But online forums, conferences, local meetups, they're invaluable.
For knowledge sharing, sure, but also just support.
Exactly. Just knowing others are facing similar hurdles, sharing strategies, getting that emotional support, it makes a huge difference. It makes the uncertainty less daunting.
Okay, that really covers navigating the external changes. Let's shift gears now to the internal game, the productivity mindset.
Right, that classic feeling, there just aren't enough hours in the day.
We've all been there. The ebook acknowledges that right off the bat, doesn't it?
It does, and then it pivots quickly. It's not about magically finding more hours. It's about working smarter.
Working smarter, not just harder. I think I saw a nod to Gary Vee in there.
Yeah, that idea of hustle combined with strategy, it fundamentally comes down to your mindset.
And this is where Carol Dweck's work comes in. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset.
Exactly. The ebook touches on this. Can I quickly break that down?
Please do.
Okay, so a fixed mindset is basically believing your talents and intelligence are pretty much set. You've got what you've got. A growth mindset, though, is the belief that you can develop your abilities through dedication, hard work, learning, effort makes you stronger.
And the ebook obviously champions the growth mindset for productivity.
Strongly, because if you have a growth mindset, you see challenges not as proof you can't do something, but as chances to learn and improve. That gives you way more agency over your productivity.
And it's not just wishful thinking, right? The book gives actual steps.
Yeah, things like deliberately stepping outside your comfort zone, reframing setbacks as learning experiences, and focusing on progress over perfection.
That last one, focusing on progress.
Yeah.
That really resonates. It's so easy to get paralyzed trying to make things perfect before you even start.
Absolutely. Analysis paralysis is real.
Now, something often missed in productivity chat, but the ebook highlights it. Self-care.
Yes. So important. It's not just about apps and hacks. It's foundational. Your physical health, your mental health, even your workspace.
Right. It talks about exercise, nutrition, sleep, the basics, but crucial. And mental health stuff, too.
Mindfulness, meditation, journaling. And I found this interesting. The author apparently schedules time just for doing nothing, like actively scheduling downtime to recharge.
Scheduling doing nothing. I like that. It's intentional recovery.
Yeah, and it gives concrete tips, like aiming for that 7-9 hours of sleep, or how even a quick 10-minute walk or bike ride can make a difference.
And the work environment. Clutter versus calm.
Definitely. An organized desk may be a minimalist approach. Reducing visual clutter helps reduce mental clutter and improves focus.
Okay, but technology can help with productivity too, right? The ebook isn't anti-tech.
Not at all. It talks about leveraging tools, but smartly, like using Trello for task management. The author apparently uses different boards for work, personal stuff, long-term goals.
That sounds organized.
Yeah, and using automation tools like Zapier or IFTTT for simple, repetitive tasks.
IFTTT, if this, then that. Like connecting different apps.
Exactly. Automating simple workflows. But the big caution is, don't get overwhelmed by too many tools. Find what works for you.
Choose tools wisely. Don't just collect them.
Precisely. Like the author automates getting stock news every morning via a shortcut. It's specific, targeted automation.
Got it. And the final piece on productivity. Balance.
Absolutely essential. You can't sustain peak productivity if you're always on. Downtime isn't laziness. It's necessary maintenance to avoid burnout.
Which ties nicely into the author's own story, moving from employee to entrepreneur.
Right. He talks about how that transition really drove home the need for serious time management. Suddenly you're juggling everything.
I bet. I imagine for freelancers or founders listening, that sounds very familiar.
For sure. The ebook basically says in that context, efficiency isn't a nice to have, it's a survival tool.
So, what specific advice does he share from that experience?
Well, it reinforces the right tool for the job idea. He mentions apps like Monday, Notion, Trello, note takers like Google Keep or Apple Notes. But the real point is finding your system and sticking to it. He actually uses a mix digital tools for the big picture planning, but still uses traditional notebooks for daily tasks.
Interesting, a hybrid approach.
Yeah. And he comes back to those regular breaks like Pomodoro. Clearly, that 50-minute work, 10-minute break cycle really worked for him.
And the breakfast thing, eating the same thing every day.
Yeah, fried eggs, apparently. The idea is reducing decision fatigue.
Like Mark Zuckerberg in the gray t-shirts.
Exactly. Save your mental energy for the bigger decisions by automating the small, repetitive ones.
That's a neat little hack. What else?
Diversifying your day. Mixing passion projects, core work, and personal development. He suggests this keeps things fresh and prevents burnout on any single track.
Makes sense. Keeps different parts of the brain engaged.
And then there's his biking habit.
Right. Biking for productivity. How does that work?
Well, beyond the obvious health benefits, he mentions flexibility, saving commute time, but also, surprisingly, boosts in motivation and creativity. Getting the blood flowing, changing scenery.
Yeah, I can see that. It's not always about sitting still to be productive.
Definitely not. And that ties into changing your work environment too.
Hmm.
Even just moving to a different room or a coffee shop or outside. It can refresh your focus and spark ideas.
Little changes, big impact potentially.
And the underlying theme through all this, create processes.
Processes for everything.
Well, for as much as makes sense. Defined processes save time, reduce stress, give you that sense of control. It standardizes the routine stuff so you can focus on the complex stuff.
Okay, now I'm really curious about this next bit. Healthy addictions. That sounds like a contradiction.
It does, doesn't it? But the ebook frames it in an interesting way. It looks at addiction simply as like repeated engagement in something gratifying,
Hmm.
and then asks, what if that gratifying thing is actually positive? The difference between destructive and healthy addiction lies in the impact. And, crucially, moderation.
Okay, so what's an example of a healthy addiction?
The first one is the thirst for knowledge, that continuous learning drive we talked about.
Right, wanting to always learn more.
The benefits are clear. Stay updated, broaden perspectives, boost creativity. But there's a warning label. Avoid information paralysis.
Oh, learning so much you never actually do anything with it.
Exactly. You have to apply the knowledge.
Okay, what's another one?
Commitment to self-development. This links back to that growth mindset again.
Constantly trying to improve yourself.
Right. Benefits. Better self-esteem, relationships, resilience, the
Yeah.
danger. Perfectionism. Striving so hard you burn out or get stressed.
So the advice is,
Focus on consistent, small steps, incremental improvement, and celebrate the small wins along the way. Don't wait for perfection.
got it. And the third one?
The drive to complete tasks. That satisfaction of getting things done, ticking boxes.
That feels good.
Yeah,
And it's useful professionally.
absolutely. Leads to advancement, accomplishment.
Mhm.
But again, there's a dark side. It can become obsessive, lead to neglecting other areas of life, burnout.
So boundaries again?
Boundaries are key. For all these healthy addictions, moderation and balance are everything. The ebook really hammers this home.
How do you maintain that balance?
Set clear boundaries, allocate specific times, make sure there's time for rest, social life. Practice self-care, celebrate achievements without letting the drive consume you.
It's about channeling that drive positively without letting it take over.
Exactly. Harnessing the positive loop of gratification for productive ends, but with guardrail.
Okay, fascinating stuff. We're getting near the end now, the final section. Connecting the dots in tech. What's this about?
This is about navigating the, let's face it, incredibly crowded tech market.
Yeah, it feels like everyone has an app idea or a new platform.
Right. And the ebook argues that just having a great idea isn't enough anymore. Success comes from understanding how different pieces, technologies, market needs, user behavior connect.
Seeing the bigger picture, the patterns.
Precisely. Identifying those meaningful connections. And that takes strategic thinking. Analyzing trends, customer needs, tech advancements.
So understanding trends like AI or cybersecurity.
And aligning those with what people actually need or want. That means solid market research, listening to feedback.
And keeping an eye on the next wave of tech, blockchain, edge computing.
Yeah, having that forward-looking perspective. How can these new tools solve existing problems or create new value when combined with market needs?
And marketing fits in here too.
Crucially, in a noisy market, you need integrated strategies, consistent messaging everywhere, and using data tracking metrics, analyzing results to make smart decisions about where to focus your efforts.
So it's not just about building the cool tech.
No. It's also about developing it smartly. Balancing innovation with usability is huge. Like, a wearable device might have amazing tech inside, but if it's clunky or confusing to use,
People won't use it.
right. User experience is paramount. And managing the practicalities, development costs, timelines through good project management,
So connecting the dots really means what?
it boils down to a strategic mindset. Seeing the relationships between market trends, user needs, technology, and marketing, and then weaving them together effectively.
Okay, that pulls everything together nicely.
And that really wraps up the key insights from Ardeshir Shojai's ebook and our deep dive into it.
It feels like the core message is, even though the tech world feels chaotic and demanding,
Mm.
if you bring structure, cultivate the right mindset, build healthy habits, you can actually find a path to not just success, but fulfillment too.
That's a great summary. Structure, mindset, habits amidst the change.
So as a final thought for everyone listening, as you navigate your own path in tech, maybe consider this. What seemingly unrelated trends are you noticing in your corner of the industry right now? Are there any unexpected connections hidden there?
Ooh, interesting prompt.
Connections that might just hold the key to the next innovation, or maybe even your next big career move. Something to mull over.
Definitely something to think about. Keep that curiosity going. Keep learning. Keep adapting. It's a continuous journey in tech, isn't it?
It really is.